Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Anil. Yeah.
Yeah, so in Sloka 29, it is though it is Arjun is telling, but I see a use of Prathama Purusa there, like Parishushyati and Jayate and other things. Like, why is it not Uttama Purusa here?
So it is. See, he didn't. He says, my lips are dry, my hands are trembling, or my hands are weak. So so it's a third what do you call it? Third person, no, because my hands, not I.
Oh,
He didn't say I am trembling. He says my body is trembling. Therefore, it's not I. So therefore, this two person is not coming.
uh-huh.
So, so Parishushyanti, Parishushyanti is not there,
Uh-huh.
and Sidanti.
Dhanyavad.
So not
And another thing, 31, Sloka 31. So there were two words like Nimitani and Vipritani. Yeah. So Nimitani is bad omens. What is this Vipritani?
Nimittani is not bad omens. So Nimittani means things that seem to give you an idea of the future. Okay, an omen. Viparitani is opposite.
Oh, okay.
Things that you don't desire. Viparitam means something I don't desire.
So aren't they together like Vipritani, Nimitani? It's a like single thing.
Correct. Viparitani, Nimittani. Viparitani is an adjective to Nimittani.
Then why did the cha come in between?
Because the previous it's continuing. No, the idea is continuing.
Oh, from the previous one. Okay, okay.
This is a big list. Arjuna is going on and on. So therefore, cha. And I see bad omens everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So my mind is confused, and I am seeing bad omens everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mind confused comes from the previous verse.
Yeah, understood. And in the Sloka 33, you said it is the ta is a misprint. It should be te, right?
No, ta is not a misprint. It te, and then sandhi rule that te becomes tai, and then yakara drops, and so ta is correct.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if it's a mistake, I will tell you it's a mistake. But so otherwise, it's a sandhi. So you get used to that sandhi.
What does it the te ime meant here? Ime is this, right?
Yeah, ime is these. Te is these.
Oh,
Sataute. Sataute. Plural.
So, te is these or ime is these? Both are these, right? Like.
Yeah. So these and these. So te is those. Ime is these. So these. So our army, all these people, and they are those. Their army. That is one way to take it. So I am imau ime. I am means I am is this.
This, yeah.
This. So these. Ime is these. They means those.
Oh, these, they, those both, all. Matlab.
Oh, means entire world is included in this.
Dhanyavad.
Yeah, who is that?
Guruji.
Sri Vidya, okay.
Yes. Guruji, Sloka 32 and 33 is using the word Kankshitam. Kankshe, what is the meaning, exact meaning?
So, Kankshe. Kankshe means desire, to want, to desire. Kanksh. Aham Vijayam na Kankshe.
Na Kankshe. Na
Aham Vijayam na Kankshe. So, if you are studying Sanskrit, so it's Atmanipadi. So, it won't come like Patami, Ichhami, etc. So, Aham Vijayam na Ichhami. That is the meaning. I don't desire victory. And Kankshitam, like that, is another same root. Is not desired. So Kankshitam. So passive. They're saying it in passive voice. For whose sake victory and kingdom are desired. So passive voice.
Okay. Thank you.
Same thing. Good. So are you also studying Sanskrit, Srividya?
I was studying in the college and stopped, Guruji, but I could understand pretty much, and I could read and.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Anything else?
I had a question.
Yeah. Sorry, raise the hand again. Who? Yeah.
Ashutosh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so from verses 4 in 15, 16, 17, I think there is a description on the conches that are blown by various people,
Okay.
right? And there is the name of Panchajanya and Devadatta and Pondra or whatever. But my question is more like, isn't this useless? I mean, if you consider that this is Bhagavad Gita and you're talking about, and it's been here for thousands of years and hundreds of years, and it's going to survive another thousands of years. But if you think about it, the conches could have been called Tom, Dick, or Harry, or whatever. But what is the actual need of specifying that these names should be there? To me, I mean, this is actually waste of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I don't know if they are mentioned later and if it has some sort of relevance there. Maybe it can stay in the entire Mahabharata with 125,000 verses. But in Bhagavad Gita, why do we need it?
Yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. So before the Bhagavad Gita, the story is continuing. The story is continuing. And so it looks like the first chapter is the ending of that, the context, the story, how it all built up, and it just ends there. And like you apply brakes, and the minute you apply brakes, you don't stop. So you move for a few more meters, few more feet, you move, and then the car stops. And so that's momentum it takes one chapter to stop. And also we need to know the context. Why Arjuna came to be what, how this teaching came about. Arjuna knew Krishna all along. Why now? What is this? In the middle of a battlefield and all, Bhagavad Gita. So, we are studying Bhagavad Gita, we are closing the room and this and that and all internet, everything, perfect, pakka. And then we've sat and we are studying. But Arjuna is studying in a different environment. And so some context is useful to have. So I won't say that the chapter 1 is a waste.
No, I'm not saying chapter 1. I'm not saying chapter 1. I just meant only those verses which mention the names of the conches.
Yeah, it's all part of the story. It's all part of the story. And so, and teaching starts only in the second chapter. And so the people's names are mentioned. So even people's names are really not related to the message. So in Upanishads and all, if you see, sometimes the student's name is given, teacher's name is given, Bhrigur Vaiva Runihi Varunam Pitaram Upasasara. So there both the father and student, the student and teacher, both names are given. Bhrigu is the student, Bhrigu Maharshi is a student, and Varuna is the father. So the son who becomes a student approaches the father who is now the teacher. Like that, names are given. But other places, names are not given. So Kena Upanishad, names are not given. Story is not given. It's directly start with the question. Kene shitam patitam preshati mana. So the student is asking a question. Tell me, O teacher, is there something behind my mind which makes me do things, which is causing all these thoughts to happen? Direct, point blank question. And even to understand the question, it takes a little while. So like that, it starts. So that's why some people, they may not spend too much time on this chapter. And but I want Bhagavad Gita has this chapter. So the story is there. So we take it and then we move on.
Right. Yeah. So is this the version by Bori, which is the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute? So like there are many Mahabharats, right? And the number of verses can vary from 75,000 verses to 125,000 verses. But the Bori version, which is by Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute, is the one which is accepted as the most as the one which has the maximum verses, and the not maximum but like the most important verses. So is this based on that, or is this like Bhagavad Gita doesn't really follow that?
Yeah, so I've heard about these versions, etc. I don't know much about what's most authentic version and things like that. And Bhagavad Gita, I found 2 or 3 places. Actually, just one place, I think. One, maybe 2 places where I've heard, okay, this particular verse in the beginning of one of the chapters, I forget which chapter, that verse, some of the text will not have that verse. Like that, I've read. So I've not seen so many differences. We just encountered one, right? In chanting, we saw Janardana was there in one place, and then some other word was there, correct? So Saumadattis Tathaivacha, verse number 8. There was a Patabeda.
Yeah.
Like this, you don't find much in Bhagavad Gita. And even Upanishads, I think somehow they have preserved it. But yeah, because of this Karna Parampara and this amazing tradition, how many years we've been hearing this, and so because of that, there are now different versions.
Right.
Because north, somebody is chanting in the north, and then the entire Mahabharata, and that's how it must have come. Palm leaves must be there, and palm leaves sometimes you can't decode it because they're either burnt or missing. Then what do? Then you have to seek out people who have memorized it, and then based on that they write down.
Yeah.
And then different parts of the country they do, and those versions are not identical, and so there must be a lot of history behind that. So thanks to all our teachers and scholars and others who have worked hard on this and collecting all these versions and keeping it for us. Yeah. Anything else?
I also feel that it is the poetic liberty, right? I mean, he could use any number of names, right? I mean, it is we can't question that. I mean, that is the freedom the poet enjoys.
Correct, definitely. That's a good point, Balaji. And so this is a poem. You can see how they have written it, and chandas is so important. Everything is written in Anushtup Chanda or Trishtup Chanda. It's not like writing a history, writing prose, writing a story. And so there are words that are used to maintain that 32 syllables in each verse. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. So that's how we are chanting now. So therefore some words may be added here and there. But still all these names that are there, it's a very creative piece of work. The way this our Shastram is written is just mind-boggling to me. And how they have done all this. So yeah, Balaji, that's also a point. So because it's not pure history. This is not a text. It's not a history textbook. Even though the entire thing is based on a historical sequence of events, the text need not have all history. And
may I just interrupt?
Some supernatural type of things may have been mentioned, and so we accept that as part of that poetic license that the author has.
Yeah, and also if you look at Sanskrit, it historically, when it is if it is translated to English, it's not efficient at all. Like Kaunteya is the sons of Kunti, but Kaunteya is very efficient to refer to all the Pandavas, and when you're writing it in verses, I feel it makes a lot of sense to treat these conches as people, like people give names to their dogs or whatever, you know. So I just feel, yeah, it's just like, for example, even if you look at Krishna, he's referred to by so many names. He sometimes Govinda, and you were just talking about Sahrida, people who are not connected, who do good things to you without even knowing you. But if you just translate the meaning, the literal meaning is good-hearted people, but it's not efficient when you translate it in English. It's just very efficient when you say Sahrida.
Correct. So yeah, many words have no equivalents in English. Literally, the word karma is a good example. No equivalent in English. And like this, we have many words. Dharma itself has no equivalent. What will you say for dharma? And you can say right, wrong, righteous, all these words we use. But dharma is a very loaded word. And based on context, its meaning changes. And so, yeah, there's all that beauty in Sanskrit. And so there's so much to talk about that. And here there is a question here. So this Anushtup Chandaha, how many syllables does it have? So I don't remember if I mentioned this, but if not, we can quickly look at this. So let's look at that same, which one, where were we? We finished in verse number 33. Okay, let's look at 33. Okay. So ye sham arthe kankshi tam nah. Okay, that is eight syllables, correct? Yesham arte kankshitannah rajyam bhogah sukhani cha. 8 syllables. And then if you count ta, I, me, vasthe, ta, yuddhe, 8 syllables. Pra, nam, styak, tva, dha, na, ni, cha, 8 syllables. So 4 times 8 would be 32 syllables in Anushtup Chanda. And then Trishtup, like that, you will have Trishtup maybe is 44 or something. We have to see. Vasam sijirnani yatha vihaya. Yeah, so that's 11. 11 times 4 would be 44. That would be Trishtup Chanda. These are the only 2 meters you see in the Bhagavad Gita. And there are many other meters also. So, Gayatri, Ushnak, Anushtup, Prihati, Pankti, Trishtup, Jagati. So when we do our Sandhyavandanam, so these names of chandas comes when we in our daily ritual. So
this syllable, is it like a letter or is it something else?
No, syllable is not a letter. Syllable is a syllable. So ye. So every time a group of letters which create one sound. Ye, sham. So sham looks like what? It has 2 consonants and 1 vowel. Okay. And then ar, the.
Okay, so we need to get to a level to figure it out yet. Fine.
Okay. So syllable. You know, I used to wonder one thing. How come they did not teach me in school what a syllable is? And you know, they gloss over all this. And how important these things are. And it won't come in the exam. So you don't have to study. Sometimes this logic they give. You know, all funny crooked thinking. We've all got so confused. And exam-based studying. Okay, so good. Now that's good. I'm glad you're asking that question because Your question is everybody else's question also. So unless one of you asks, the question won't come out. Good. So there are no other questions.
Guruji,
Somebody.
are chandas same as syllables?
Yeah, Ami. Yeah, what is it?
Are chandas same as syllables?
Okay. So chandas, the technical word there is chandas, and chandas means the particular what do you call it? Number of syllables and the particular organization of it. Like in this, all the verses we chanted so far in the Bhagavad Gita, we said they have what? 4 times 8, 32 syllables. And so that type of organization is called Anushtup Chandas. Anushtup Chanda. That particular style, if you want to call it. Meter. In English, they use the word meter. Meter. And then we chanted the other verse. So Asamsi Jirnani. So is there a, let's see here. So far we have not seen Anushtup. So in the next chapter we will see shortly. So we will see verses which are even longer. So they have 44 syllables. 11 times 4. You will see that. And so that's a different meter called Trishtup meter. Trishtup meter. And so that Trishtup Chandas, it's called Trishtup Chandas. So Chandas is a technical name which refers to a particular organization, particular number of syllables, and broken into that 4 parts or 2 lines, each line having so many number of syllables. In this case, in this Anushtup Chanda, each line has 16 syllables. Correct? Yeah, 16 plus 16, 32. Correct.
Jaykumarji, that also includes the places where you pause as well as the tune, right? So when you say a certain chandas, then that means you will chant it using a certain tune and pause after a certain number of syllables and so on.
Yeah, so the Bhagya asked the question. So yeah, so what needs to be chanted is very clear in the shloka. Okay, so all the letters that are there are to be chanted, and then sometimes the akara is dropped. So like we just saw here in the 33rd shloka, if you see, second line, ta ime used to be avasthitaha, it has become vasthita. That a has dropped. So therefore, dropped. So one letter we are not chanting, and without that chant, so that chant should not be included. That syllable should not be included. So that is a way to chant it. And so taime vasthita yuddhe will be 8 letters, 8 syllables. Sorry, that is one question. Second, pausing and rhythm and that kind of thing. That is optional. This is the way I had learned, and Swamiji at one time said at that time there was no proper way of chanting, and so this is the tune Swamiji used to teach, and so we are chanting it this way. But there is no rule that you must chant in a particular way. And yesham arthe kangshitan tanno rajyam bhogaha sukhanicha taime avasthita yuddhe pranans tekva dhananicha. So you simply read the whole shloka. So this way of chanting, etc., is optional. It's up to us, and only the letters are given, prescribed.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct, Jaykumarji, because with Lalita Sahasranamam, the same Anushtup Chandas, you chant the whole line, whereas here we are breaking it into padas. So that doesn't matter. I mean, for Lalita Sahasranamam, we don't break it. We just say the whole sentence and it becomes like 2 lines almost.
Correct, exactly. And
So then, according to this chandas, the lines like Arjun Uvach, Sanjay Uvach, they don't come as part of Bhagavad Gita. They are just added to understand what exactly it is.
You can assume that. You can assume that. You can assume that Vyasa added on that. Because Vyasa is reporting this. Remember. See, remember, Vyasa actually wrote the Mahabharata, right? So he, based on his vision, his drishti, he wrote it. So this is what Sanjaya said. This is what Arjuna said, and so yes,
But
Vyasa must have added.
whatever he reported, that also all this he has written in his own style, right?
Yes, yes.
It is not exactly the words what actually Sanjay said, maybe.
We don't know. We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know. We don't know. How do you know? So it could be, it could not be. Maybe some verses are exactly what Sanjay said, some verses are not. We don't know. Yeah. So very amazing. Soul text.
Jaykumarji,
Yeah.
I have a question. So, what is the Sanskrit word for syllable?
Yeah, I was thinking when somebody asked, I was thinking of that.
Akshara, I think.
Akshara is it a syllable?
It includes the swara and even the samyukta akshara. Like they're all called aksharas only, right?
I don't know. I need to look into that. Akshara means, see, look at this. I don't think akshara means syllable. I'll tell you why. You know the meaning of the word akshara? Kshara means that which can disintegrate. That which can, further diminish in size, property, whatever. And akshara means that which doesn't diminish. So akshara refers to Atma. But here in language, the smallest element of the language is what?
The consonant or the vowel.
Swara.
It's a letter. It's a letter. Consonant or a vowel. Consonant or a vowel. So that is my understanding of an akshara. So yeah, go ahead and let me know, Bhagya, if you.
Could it be Padam? Jaykumarji, could it be Padam?
No, Padam is a word. Padam is a word. Padam is a
okay.
word. And there are many technical terms and somehow syllable.
We'll find it for next time.
But then I take it back. So sometimes they say akshara.
Yeah.
They may mean syllable. Okay.
Yeah, there are in Sanskrit dictionary when you search for syllable, it says akshara, varna, vyanjana.
Yeah, vyanjanas are also called. In generalization, akshara means all these.
Yeah, varnaha. Varnaha letter. That is very clear. Varnaha is a letter, like a consonant or a vowel. And padam is a word. Padam is a word. A fully grown word which can be used in a sentence is a padam. Then pratipadikam, all these words are there.
Yeah, even swara is used to mean a syllable in this, at least in the dictionary. It says dviswara means two syllabled.
Oh, I see. Swara. Yeah, akshara, I've seen it used for syllables. Ashtaksharam, ityadi.
Yeah.
Panchaksharam. So panchaksharam there, look at that.
Panchakshari, yeah.
So na, ma, shi, va, ya. So there it is.
Any sound that comes is called an akshara.
So there it is syllable. Panchaksharam is syllable. Look at this. Na, ma, shi, va, ya.
That is na, maha, shi, va, ya.
So that is there the akshara refers to syllable.
Correct.
Right?
That's what it is. Syllable is akshara.
Yeah, there clearly it refers to syllable. So yeah, I think that's what the takeaway is, that syllable also referred to by akshara.
Akshara doesn't mean just a, e, and all. It also means ka, ki, ku, any sound that is akshara.
So for those who are new to this, in most languages, we have a, e, etc. All swaras are there. then ka, kha, ga, gha, nga, etc. So these are all called letters. But in Sanskrit, a letter, the consonants, all vowels are letters, individual letters. E, etc. are letters, no doubt. The consonants in Sanskrit, ka is not a consonant. Ik is a consonant. Without the a, then that ik, which cannot be pronounced. A consonant can never be pronounced. And then you add an a to it, becomes ka. Then you add an a, becomes ka. So ik plus a is ka. Ik plus e is ki, ku, ityadi. Okay. So that when we say ka, ki, in Hindi it's just one letter. But in Sanskrit, it's really two letters. Ka is two letters. It has a consonant and it has a vowel. A vowel is needed. Without a vowel, pronunciation cannot happen. Pronunciation cannot happen. Only swaras, the vowels, create the sounds in Sanskrit language. That is how it is. It is designed, or that's how it is presented. That is how it is studied. And so, therefore, it becomes very discrete and very programmable. So, ik plus a is ka. So, Namah Shivaya, if you say na, really is what? This nakara in. So, because in is so hard to say, they will say nakaraha. Nakaraha means the consonant na, in, the consonant in, it's called nakara, plus akaraha will form the sound na. So, na. Same thing, ma, maha, there is a visarga there. She or sha, she, two letters. Sha plus e, two letters. Vaya, va plus a is va. And then yakaraha plus akaraha is ya. Two letters. So Namah Shivaya has 10 letters. Correct? But Panchakshara. Dashavarnaha Panchakshara. Shabdaha. Or Shabdadvayam Namaha Shivaya. So that's how it works. 10 letters, but 5 aksharas, 5 syllables. So in Hindi and all, you will say Namah Shivaya. So there are 5. Hindi mein kya bolte hain? So Panch, they will say 5. There are only 5 letters, right? In Hindi, is there a difference between akshara and this kind of a difference? It's not there. It's not there because we studied ka, ka, ga, gha, nga, etc. And the ka is not separated into a consonant and a vowel.
Yeah, we don't have a halant in Hindi, right? We never use a halant in Hindi. It's only like the end of a word is pronounced like a halant, but right.
No, the problem is the whole word is pronounced like a halant. Like ka is like Ram. They will say Rama is like they will make halant for even the complete.
Only the end of the word, right? End of the word. The last letter
they will
like
Jaykumar ji gives the example. Rama, we say Rama is Sanskrit, but Ram. They will say Ram.
Yeah.
So the last consonant.
The last consonant.
Like the whole letter is there. They will break it as a halant.
Yeah.
Pronunciation wise.
Last consonant. Just
only
the
at
last.
the end of a word. Only at the end of a word.
Yeah. So, but halant is there in Hindi also. Halant is there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So halant. All these are technical words for others who are not studying Sanskrit.
Yeah.
So, a lot of these words come. So, there are these vowels are called swaras in Sanskrit, and also called ach. Ach means a vowel. Ach. So swara or ach means vowel, and consonant vyanjanam. In Sanskrit, it's called vyanjanam, or it's also called hal. Hal. So why it's called ach and why it's called hal, etc. There's a story behind that, but we will cover that another time. So halant, Mohini was saying halant. Halant means a word that ends with a hal, namely ends with a consonant. And ajantaha, a word that ends with a vowel. Word that ends with a vowel means what? So Rama. Rama. Ends with a vowel called akara. In Hindi, Ram ends with halant in Hindi. But here, it ends with a vowel. Rama. If you say Rama. Then the Jagat. Jagat. World Jagat. Ends with a hal. Ends with a consonant called takara. So like this, Sanskrit, there are words which can end in a vowel or in consonant.
Swamiji. Swamiji.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jaya Kumar ji.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Hindi, Ram doesn't end with an halant.
Okay.
It doesn't end, but it is pronounced wrongly. Hindi also, there are two types of Hindi. One is Shastriya Hindi. In Shastriya Hindi, they'll always say Rama, but common people, they use it, they call it Ram.
So
your name should be pronounced as Jaya Kumar.
Okay.
Correct? So those who are from Banaras and other places, the educated people, they will pronounce it as Jaya Kumar. But common people like me will pronounce it as Jaya Kumar. Similarly, Ram or Krishna, they'll pronounce it Ram Krishna. And in South India, they do the opposite. They elongate it more. Ram becomes Rama. It's neither Ram nor Rama. It is actually Rama. So that's actually a fault in pronunciation, not in the language.
Okay. So Shastriya Hindi versus Laukika Hindi.
Yes. That's the difference.
That's the difference. So in the north, do you find more people talking in Shastriya Hindi?
No. Most of them speak this normal Hindi, Hindi movie Hindi. But some educated people from Banaras and Uttar Pradesh, and these people, they pronounce exactly the way it has to be pronounced. Like say, we say ab main ghar ja raha hu. They will not say ab. They'll say ab main ghar ja raha hu. So those who are very particular, they follow that halant and other system. But most people, they don't follow that, because in general parlance, we don't follow that.
So here's the question then. So if ab is pronounced as aba,
yeah,
then is there something that distinguishes when a letter should be said as aba or when that word should be said ab? So in other words, like in Sanskrit,
you have to just see the written word, how it is written, like in Sanskrit, because Hindi follows exactly the Sanskrit system. So if it is written a and ba fully without halant, so you have to pronounce it as ab, not ab.
So are you saying that understroke is there in Hindi also?
It is there, but as I'm saying, there is a Shastriya Hindi. In Shastriya Hindi, they follow very close to Sanskrit. But in normal novels and other things, they don't. So you have to, that's the if you read good books by, Pandits, those who are from Banaras and such places, Kashi, Vrindavan and others, they pronounce it correctly. But it's not one common thing. Hindi is also in Madhya Pradesh, it's different.
Yeah.
In Uttarakhand, it's different kind. Delhi Hindi is different. Bombay Hindi is different. So we cannot generalize. But what is considered standard Hindi, in that you have to follow very close to Sanskrit.
Repeat that last sentence again.
In Shastriya Hindi, you follow it very close to Sanskrit. Very close.
Yeah. Okay.
The only difference is, normally in Hindi, the last letter does not end in a halant, because that's the rule. But you have to pronounce it as an halant. It is understood. If you have to know that. For example, Jagat. In most good books, Jagat will always be with a halant.
Okay.
But in general books, they will not. They don't use halant. General books.
I see.
Yeah, that's the thing. So it's because, and that's why it's wrong pronunciation. When we say Ram, that's not the right pronunciation. Similarly, Rama is also not right, I feel. It is Rama. Neither Ram nor Rama, it is Rama. If I don't know. You can give your comments on this, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, I generally don't find the need to say that a language is wrong. So I say, let Tamil be the way it is, let Hindi be the way it is, and Sanskrit is the way it is, and maybe these words came from Sanskrit. So I don't want to judge Tamil or Hindi and say Tamil is wrong. You guys are pronouncing it wrong. That is not.
Not wrong in that sense.
Yeah.
It's regional differences.
Correct. So let the regional differences be, and let us be aware of how it originated, perhaps. And there is no need to change the language and things like that. I don't think so. And Shastri Hindi is there. Those who want to speak can speak that.
No,
and,
I pointed out only because the question arose. That's why. It's not to say that something is superior, something is wrong. No, it's just that we should be aware of why it is like that.
That's very good. That's good insight. I didn't know that. Now that you mentioned it, I think it's good to keep that in mind. Because I know that you said, now it occurs to me, sometimes you hear they, aap, sometimes they say apa also, I think. Aap instead of aap. And something, I've heard these kinds of things.
For example, most of us say Janta Party. Bharatiya Janata Party, but a Shastri speaker will say Bharatiya Janata Party. If you so it is Janata, not Janta. Janta becomes half na. That's Alant. So that word is not there. But what can we do? People speak like that. So we listen to TV, we listen to radio and imitate that. Naturally it comes.
Correct.
But some those who think, those who follow the rules, they'll pronounce every syllable properly.
Sure.
And regarding I think debate about question about syllables.
Yeah.
I think the problem is not there in Hindi, Sanskrit, in our languages. That is the English thing, because for them syllabus is required. So I don't think we have that concept. Because in our dictionaries, we don't break it up into syllables. Whereas if you look at an Oxford dictionary, any word they show where the syllable is breaking. We don't need that. Ours is, for us, it's not important.
Because we pronounce it the way it is written, so maybe we don't need to.
Yeah.
So akshara. So maybe we shouldn't use the word syllable, but akshara. So this chandas has a definition, and so ashtakshara. All these things are there. One padam is ashtakshara, etc. So there, that sound that I'm using the word syllable. I think that's what syllable is, but yeah. So it's not needed in the sense, because the emphasis and all that is there in English, and which vowel has to be emphasized. All that is there. How it should be said, etc.
Yeah, and the same sequence of letters is sometimes pronounced differently in English, right? So
yeah,
not the same as it's written.
Yeah. My example is this. So when I first went to the US, I was talking to my roommate. I was living in a dormitory and sharing a room with a Caucasian student who was doing a master's. And I once said, this cassette, this cassette, etc. We were talking. And he didn't understand the word at all. Richard did not understand what he said. And I kept repeating it 3 times, 4 times, it did not happen. And finally he got it. Oh, you mean cassette? Then I realized, Baba, I said, okay, yeah, cassette. So then I realized, then only slowly I began to realize, oh, these accents are such an important thing. And so all these dictionaries and all, they make an effort to say that. How do you say cassette versus cassette, right? But in Sanskrit, Indian languages, like Kuldeep said, we don't have that problem because every letter is pronounced the way it is written. There's only one way to pronounce it. Very interesting. Good. So we will stop here and then we will continue next class.
Thank you, Jayakumarji.
Dhanyawadaha. Namaskar.
Dhanyawadaha, Jayakumarji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.